everybody. It's Bendy Hamers with Hammer & Company Shooting. A couple things I want to talk about. If you hadn't heard of Hammer & Company Shooting, this is going to be a training type company. And it's going to be mostly what I would like to consider like a consulting type thing, where Hammer & Company is going to organize and put on different types of training. Training is my passion. When I learn something, I love to pass it on, and then it keeps me sharp too. It's a whole way of relearning something for myself. I've worked with a lot of people in the Steel Challenge world, and everyone has really told me how well they benefited from the time that they spent with me. And I want to get into some other things. However, I know some people that are much more accomplished in some things that I am, and I'd like to bring them in and put them in front of everybody and organize training. Some of the videos that we've already seen, we've got Tyson Kilby involved, we've got Justin Morris involved, Larry Drake's involved, and there's some other people that are involved too. One of the ones I want to mention with the banner in the background, this is Shooting Solutions. This is Merle Eddington's company. He trains USPSA type shooting, but honestly, he's capable of training with just about anything that you want to know. The guy is a wealth of knowledge, but the best thing about Merle is he's probably the best trainer that I've ever met. And when I say that, that's actually a big statement. This guy is the guy that has that coach's eye. And almost immediately, because he's trained so many people. So he's able to work with people in a way that they can understand, because that's the hardest thing about training, is being able to deal with somebody that learns either by seeing or just allowing them to do it, or talking to them and telling them what it is. You got to be able to cater to all the different types of learning that's out there. And Merle is an absolute wizard when it comes to dealing with people. So that's a shout out to him. I'm going to be working with him doing some Steel Challenge formal training. We're going to do some Steel Challenge instruction. And the best part about that is imagine getting a guy like Merle Eddington, who can break down your fundamentals and basics and use that coach's eye to tell you, to fix this or maintain that, keep confidence in this. But have that, and don't think he doesn't know Steel Challenge, because he does. He's got some stories from back in the day. But he's gonna head that up, and then I'm gonna work under him, Shooting Solutions, and put out a branch of Steel Challenge. But the other thing that Hammer & Company is going to be doing is we're going to be doing all types of self-defense type training. Again, I'm putting together my own program for defensive type both shooting and just everyday self-defense, dealing with a gun. When it comes to self-awareness and things like that, we're going to talk about all those things too. So it's going to be a large encompassing program. But the first thing that I wanted to put out there today, and there'll be more things that come out, is the Hammer & Company gun. So just so all you guys out there are happy, it's clear, for God's sakes. Anyway, this is the Hammer & Company Glock. Okay, so it's a Glock 45, and don't be confused, that doesn't mean 45 caliber. This is a Glock 17 slide, just like I carry on duty. That was part of the idea. And then this is a Glock 19 slide, which makes the Glock model 45. And the reason I like the shorter slide is when we start getting into ground techniques and close quarter techniques using a firearm, every little bit counts. Plus, I knew I was going to put a dot on it. This is a Trijicon RMR. And the reason for that is this thing is absolutely indestructible. And I knew I wanted to go with a dot because the dots are the future. Whether it's tomorrow or a couple years, the dots are the future. We will see a time when duty weapons will have these. And if that were to happen today, it would be this one right here. because it keeps the dot low to the bore, and these things are absolutely indestructible. Okay. And then I have the Streamlight TLR7A. I actually have both models. I have the model with the side buttons as well. This particular one has the buttons at the back. Okay. So we've got the RMR, the light, Glock 45, and then it's got the suppressor height, iron sights on it. These are the Ameriglow version, and what I really liked about them is you can tell by that back sight, it barely comes up over the top of the rear of the RMR. Okay, so when you're using iron sights like this, there's just enough. And it looks like there's almost none, but when you're actually looking through it, there's actually quite a bit. But it doesn't take up a lot of the window space. Okay? And that front sight, I got to tell you, this was probably the biggest improvement that I've seen, is that this front sight is very well done. You can kind of see that it's really wide at the bottom and then it thins out towards the top. It is very durable. I was worried about it being tall and bending or being, broke off or what. That thing is very well done. So this is a Hammer & Company Gen 5 Glock 45. You'll be seeing us shoot a lot of this. Okay. This is my everyday carry in this configuration here. I like the mag extension on the magazine that I have in the gun. This gives me 20 plus 1. I have 20 rounds in this magazine, and then obviously the one in the chamber. One thing to discuss, there is nothing done on the inside of this. Nothing. Okay, the only thing that's been done is I finally took it apart and cleaned it last week. Got all that brown, greasy stuff that they put in there. But I like to just run it right out of the box. This it's a Glock for a reason. I didn't go with another company. One, because this is what I carry on duty. Okay, but a Glock will take abuse, and that's what we're going to do with this thing, because it has to work. It has to work under any circumstance. Okay. So the magazine extension, this is one of those whiz-bang cool things. So I use this on the magazine that's in the weapon. Okay, it's loaded with duty ammo. That's the magazine that's in the weapon, so it gives me 20 plus 1 to start out with. However, we do not carry these on our backup magazines. And the reason is because we're going to be getting into a lot of groundwork and things like that to do with a firearm. But the other thing is all you got to do is put one of these together and put all 20 rounds in it, if you can get 20 rounds in yours, and then throw it on a piece of concrete, and this thing will explode like a hand grenade. Not powder-wise, but these magazine extensions pop off quite easily under that type of duress. Okay, so I just want to point that out, that yes, I'm using that, but it gives me... and number one, this magazine's been flawless. I have not had a single issue with this magazine ever, whether it be the 20th round feeding or the last round feeding. This thing has been 100% reliable, or it wouldn't be being used. So the mag extension on the one that we're using. Now listen, this is something that I researched for, I'll bet it was 2 months solid, that I was trying to figure out exactly what holster that I wanted to incorporate into the Hammer & Company program. I have gone to appendix carry. Our program is going to support several types of carry, 2 main ones, which will be appendix carry and hip carry, as well as outside the waistband hip carry. So I researched and I found this company, Tenacor. I'd never heard of them. I did the traditional Google, best best appendix carry holster. And Pew Pew Tactical is actually one of the ones that I like for, they give out top 10s and stuff. And I really like them simply because they give some good information on options. But this is what I came up with. This is the Tenacore holster inside the waistband. And it's simple, yet very complex, okay? So the first thing to notice is we have these two metal tabs. And these things are a pain in the butt in a good way, okay? In the good way that once you put them on, it is a pain in the ass to get these things back off. Even just jeans, you know, because they've got this hook on the inside of them. And man, I tell you what, and those things are strong. They're so strong. But they hook, and they will not they will not budge. You really got to work out to get them off. The other thing is it uses this cam. They call it a cam on the side. This little plastic piece. You can use it with none. There's another one that's probably about 50% wider than this. And what that does, again, still clear. What that does is when this is inside the pants, this little cam provides spacing. So what it does is when it's inside the pants, if you can imagine this being inside the pants, what this does is that tweaks the grip into the body just a little bit. I mean, just that much. But you'd be surprised how much of a difference that makes. Okay? So when it's in your waistline, that little cam tweaks it inward ever so much. Because especially with a longer grip, a full-size grip, if anything is going to print, it's going to be the end of your grip. Especially being that I use the extension. And I'll tell you, this does not print. Okay? So let's get into something really neat about this holster. And this was one of the reasons that I went with it. So they did an interesting thing with their Kydex. Look at the bottom of this. So they have this done to where they have this, and all it is just the way that their Kydex is made. It's not, you know, like a big, you know, thick inner side thing. It's just the way that the Kydex is made. So it's got this bubble, let's call it that, okay? Now you can imagine what that does, okay? What that does is also because it's angled, it kind of creates a little bit of a rounded, comfortable wedge. Not only does this make this holster extremely comfortable, but again, what this does is when it's in the pant line, this bubble is tweaking it into the body, the handle, the grip, ever so slightly into the body. And the other thing is I can't remember what it's called, the adrenal crease or whatever it's called. A fancy name for just the way that your leg meets your crotch area. So if you can imagine, the thin part is where the leg is coming down. Okay, and that's usually the start of the quadricep muscle. So that's kind of beefy right there. But then as you get to the bottom of the abdomen muscle and into the crotch area, it starts to become very soft there. And what happens with other holsters is when this is in the pant line, what happens a lot of time is the holster, just from weight, will start to tip this way. And then that'll make your grip print. But what they did was made this little wedge, and not only does it's completely round, it's super comfortable, but it also keeps the gun tipped in just a little bit, or at least keeps it straight, but it keeps it tipped in just a little bit. And then using that cam, tipping in the grip a little bit, you've got a holster that for ambidextrous carry, I've tried a couple of them. This is the third one that I've tried, among many other holsters I've tried over the years. I love this one. Really, really, really like it. So that's the Hammer & Company Glock. We're running it. I bet it does not have 2,000 rounds through it yet, so it is still brand new. Okay, that's what we're dealing with. You'll be seeing this more and more. Once I start to get the program a little bit more where I want to put it out there, you'll be hearing more about it. You'll be seeing more of this pistol, and you'll be seeing its application in the program that I want to put together and put out to people. So stick around. We're going to have some more videos coming out soon. We're going to have some competition things going on. We'll be working with Merle. Should be a lot of things coming. So think about what you're doing in the off season. Off season is for equipment change and training, according to my buddy Merle there. So if you have any questions, feel free to hit us up. More videos coming. Thank you, guys.